Xavier, welcome to Risk Minds International. It's great to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
There's some really pretty challenging environments out there on this current landscape for this Risk Minds world. What have you been hearing as key themes this week about what people want to talk about most?
Well, it's been a new stream of discussions on cyber risk, which was very interesting to me because it's not at all something I'm used to, to look into. Some interesting developments on operational risk as well, and then obviously the usual topics of LIBOR transition and FRTB, and so which obviously is what I'm most interested in.
What do you think are the greatest challenges facing financial institutions in terms of that regulatory compliance at the moment?
Okay, so I would take it step by step. The first issue is about calibrating. So you investigate what the impact is on your current reporting. If you look at a capital requirement, you have to assess how much the new regulation will cost you, what is going to be different, what businesses will be mostly impacted. And the second thing is to decide, okay, considering that and after mitigating that with the regulator, because you still most of the time have the opportunity to, either individually as a bank or as a financial organization or as part of a wider community of financial services companies, you have the possibility to discuss and then possibly get some adjustments to the rule. But suppose that after this calibration phase, you've got the final state of the regulation for you. The second step is to decide, okay, what's the impact on my business? How will adjust the allocation of capital? Which businesses will be impacted? What do I have to shut down? Where do I put my money, basically? So that's the second difficult thing, which often has implication on the organization. The people, the desk, you're going to have to promote people, fire some business, you have people effect and organizational impact. The third one is once you have, and bear in mind, this is done before the regulation is actually, has to be applied. You have this preparation, the run-up phase. The third problem, the third difficulty or challenge is to turn your calibration tools into a proper industrial system. Most often you let the quants, your analysts, your data scientists, your quantitative analysts to do the work for you on the research. But then you have to turn that into a production-ready application, right? And at the same time, you have conflicting IT budgets or priorities because you still have to comply with the existing regulation, maybe improve it, keep printing things. You have to start setting up a new infrastructure, which may not be done by the same people. Maybe at the time, vendors are caught up with and have ready applications for you to buy, or UIT has enough time to deliver that. But it's a very challenging time when you have to juggle with different priorities.
And I guess it's not just compliance in a regulatory way, but also these firms do face the risk of things like cybersecurity. So there's other factors out there to do with data and technology that it's not just saying yes to the regulators, we're doing all we need to do. It's actually being ahead of stuff that might be on the horizon too.
Yeah, it's a question of priorities and budget. They have to the CTO and the CIA have to deal with these other threats, which are not necessarily controlled by the regulator, but they have to be, forcing effectively. And cybersecurity is a very good example because it's an ever-changing thing. They're always playing catch-up with, the evil people that are, whether they're governments or individuals or a crime organization, and they have to do that as a preemptive set of measures, but still comply with the regulation, where sadly they have to spend most of their money.
So, talking about regulation, what is the impact of FRTB on risk management at the moment?
What I've heard from the various presentations and panel discussions during the Risk Mind this year in Amsterdam is really the getting together, having the various groups involved in regulatory and risk control coming closer together. And it's not just, if you look at FRTB, it's not just the standard approach that has actually leading to that, but if you implemented the IMA, you have an impact on P&L. So the backtesting, the P&L explained, which is something that tended to be done by the front office, is part and parcel of the regulation. At the same time, you probably will use the metrics calculated by FRTB, the new one, if you haven't done it using with Basel 2.5, that you'll have actually to use on the trading desk to control your activity day on day. So it's really, the biggest impact I can see is front office, risk control, and finance department have to work together, possibly with the same systems, the same models, so that to make it easier to monitor the impact of training activities all the way to capital adequacy, and something that in many organizations is not the case today.
So what are the key conversations and messages you'll be taking back to your boardroom after Risk Minds this year?
Well, if I was a bank and if I was going for our boardroom, I would say, don't waste time, don't procrastinate, get your act together, look at your organization and business impact way before D-Day. That would be my advice.
Xavier, thank you so much for joining us. Great
It's a pleasure
to
to talk to you. Thank you very much.